Welcome to the Nightly Rant
with
your hosts, Mike
and Torya.
This is the show where we examine society from a sarcastic point of view.
If you like insane conversations, this is definitely the show for you.
Let's get into today's topic. YPN people, I don't know about you, but I love helping out a friend. That's why I want to shout out my friend Brian Little and his podcast, Your Favorite Blockhead. This is the only show that manages to weave together peanuts and MMA into one heck of an amazing podcast. You can find Your Favorite Blockhead wherever your favorite podcasts reside and at yourfavoriteblockhead.com. Do me a huge favor and listen to Brian's show. You'll be entertained and you'll help out a friend. Now, as I said, let's get into today's topic.
You know what I don't like?
Everything.
Fair weather friends.
I don't have any of those.
Well, there's a reason we don't have any of those, but we have had those.
Well, yes, but as soon as they leave in the stormy weather, I stop being friends with them at this point.
See, I think it's very relevant though in today's day and age because, back when I was a young whippersnapper, we didn't know everything our friends were saying and doing when they weren't with us.
Right. So
there were things about our friends that, were like hidden from us. Not anymore. People post everything online, they go crazy, and so it brings out red flags. You start to see red flags in people, and it's all because of social media. It really has brought out people's true personalities.
Yeah, people are shit. Who knew?
I mean, yeah, and it's interesting because like social media people, they're like an echo chamber, right? They only speak to other people who believe exactly what they believe. And if you don't believe exactly what they believe, they berate you, they call you names, they belittle you, they do all the B's to you.
Just downright unfriendly.
This is why I don't like the B streets here, because B anything is really be bad.
Bitches.
So, but these kind of things, they do have an impact on friendships and just relationships in general. I think it's healthy that we don't publicize our life on social media.
Just things that are really exciting.
But we don't, if we have an argument, it doesn't go up on social media.
Man, I barely posted any of our wedding pictures on social media. I probably do a big old photo dump eventually, but
but when people start posting things on social media, one of the things I think that they need to remember, and we've talked about this a couple episodes back, but people need to remember that if you're posting your opinion on a social media site,
you're inviting other people to respond.
And you're allowing a group of people to see it, be it everybody who follows you, a certain group of people who follows you, regardless, you're inviting a response to that, like she says. You're inviting that response. And you don't get to say, oh, it's my page and it's my opinion. Yeah, it is your opinion, but I get to say my opinion too. And you don't get to command me to be quiet.
Right.
That's not how you would handle it. Let's be real. If we were face to face, that is not how you would handle it.
Well, exactly.
So it's just frustrating to me to see, how this kind of stuff has a negative.
About this one.
What's that?
You're really passionate.
I am, because it makes me mad that because of social media, we obviously lost a friend over something that was said on social media. That when you honestly review it with, unbiased eyes, was not unfriendly, rude, accusatory, attacked. None of that. It was just a conversation about a topic where two people saw something differently.
Right.
That's all it was.
And one person couldn't handle the fact that somebody else saw something differently than they did. Like
right.
a toddler.
Right. Because it's their page, their opinion. Yeah, okay, great, it is. But that doesn't mean I don't get to respond with my opinion.
You know, the Renaissance Fair is coming up. We should invite that person with us to the Renaissance Fair and have someone knight them toddler.
It's just outrageous to me. And I think, it's a time like this when you need to think about and like self-reflect. Like, could I have done something different? Right. That's what's frustrating about this to me, is the only thing I could have done different is just keep my opinion to myself.
Well, and what's a friendship if you can't share your opinion?
Exactly. And
I mean, how would our relationship fare if neither one of us felt like we could share our opinion on things with the other person?
It would suck.
It'd be really unpleasant, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I think that, even that particular situation, you reminded me of the conversation that was held in the car.
Yeah.
Wherein they basically acted the exact same way.
On a super small scale. And the difference was you dropped it immediately because you didn't want to have that discussion. Or you.
Well, and it wasn't even that kind of thing, though. It was literally me just saying, oh, I guess we define that word differently. That's good to know. That was it. That way, if I ever heard that word come out of that person's mouth, I could go, oh, they define that word like this. So now I know what the F they're saying.
Right. And internally, you're like, well, you define it like a fucking idiot, but all right.
Well, you don't say that to the person, but you can think
I'm
it.
saying it now.
So it's like, well, and that's the thing. It's like there are things that were said with authority that, like we just talked about before we went on the air, that are absolutely 100% ridiculous notions.
Well, you want to get into the specifics?
If you'd like, sure.
This person told us that the Tropicana Hotel on the Las Vegas Strip was already being demolished to build the A's stadium. Whereas the Tropicana released a statement to all of their employees saying that demolition would begin somewhere between the end of 2024 and the middle of 2025. That doesn't sound like right now. So who are you going to believe? Rando dumbass or the Tropicana? I'm going to believe the Tropicana. Just saying.
Well, especially since you can still see it with your own eyes that it's there.
And still bookable, and still parking available, and still tickets for shows available.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
All the way through the end of 2024.
But here it is where I come from on this. I think that it's a good time to reflect on, could you have done something better? Could you have changed anything? And like I said, in this case, the only thing I could have done was keep my opinion to myself. And that's just not acceptable. So that's not going to happen. So then the answer is no. There was nothing that I could have done that was reasonable to fix the situation.
So there is something you could have done, but it's unreasonable, is effectively what you're saying. Yes.
Well, yeah, I could have just kept my opinion to myself, but then why are we having this friendship?
There is absolutely nothing I could have done to make that situation.
Well, that's exactly true.
For once, I didn't lose my temper and implode something. I gave the fuck off I got from this person a thumbs up, and I moved on with my life. I wasn't rude, I wasn't nasty, and now they can go eat a dick because I did fucking nothing to them. How about that?
I just think that you unfortunately got sucked into something, because let's be real, this person knew you were going to stand by my side. They knew you weren't going to throw me under the bus. In fact, they also knew, because we discussed our philosophy of our relationship with them, that even if you had disagreed with what I said publicly, you'd support me and talk to me in private about how you didn't agree.
But I don't feel like this was a situation where I had to pick a side, and I was forced to. There was nothing that happened in this situation that meant I had to pick a side.
Well, right. And then it's the thing, people, what you need to understand about the final chapter of all this was that the person then, makes this demand that it's my wall, my opinion. Please stop being so unfriendly. And I'm looking at the thing and I'm like, unfriendly? Huh, weird. So I ask, can you please show me where I've been unfriendly? I mean, all I see is that you stated one thing in the headline, you said another thing in the body of the text, and then in the comments, you've flipped between the two of them. So I just want to understand where you stand on this.
Nothing. disagreeing with a psychopath is unfriendly.
Well, and that's what it ultimately comes down to, is that just disagreeing and having an opposing opinion is
Unfriendly.
bad and unfriendly. And then the next thing, they blocked me because I asked the question, can you explain to me where I was unfriendly? And you know why? I guarantee you the reason why was they they expected me to just, the word, obey their command, to do what they said to do. And then the fact that I didn't do it, but also came back with, I mean, I didn't even disrespect them. I just asked a question. Well, explain to me how this is. And then they just blocked me because they didn't have the answer to that, because the other was just bluster. And you did not deserve any of it. And but it's unfortunate because as a couple, when people get to know us, they know how close we are and how tight-knit we are. And therefore, unfortunately, if someone gets mad at you, they also get mad at me, and vice versa. And it sucks.
It's really stupid because, I mean, if I had friends that you didn't like, I would just hang out with them without you, and vice versa.
Exactly.
Or if I had friends that you didn't like, you would suck it up sometimes and just hang out with these people you don't like because I like them.
Exactly. All of that is true.
And vice versa.
Yes, all of that is true. All of it is true.
There have been plenty of occasions where I've hung out with people I don't particularly like because it's what needed to happen.
Yeah, I mean,
it's called being an adult.
Well, yeah, it's part of adulting. You're not wrong. And that's the thing that, our friend is right. People use the term "I am blunt" so many times as an excuse to just be rude.
Right.
It's not everybody and every time, but it happens a lot. And people in that situation will just be like, well, I'm just telling it like it is. No, you're being rude and you're trying to stir up drama. That's what's really happening.
For my one client, they have 2 contractors that are in Pakistan. And I talk to them every single week, and I'll get on the call and they'll say something about how something is performing. And I'm like, that place is hot garbage. That's not surprising. And they love that there's no flowery crap. It makes them laugh. They've told me they think it's hilarious how blunt I am.
You know what's interesting about that, though? You would think that people from that part of the world would find it rude, yet I personally find their bluntness rude.
Well, these 2 people in particular are changing my opinion of men from that part of the world, actually.
Well, that's good.
So that's real nice.
It goes to show you that the saying is true. There's, there could be a whole bunch of bad apples. There's still going to be some good ones there.
Right.
And you have to just keep searching for the good ones.
Right.
It's that simple. I mean, is what it is. But I mean, that's really interesting to hear, because one of the things that I think about you is that your bluntness is hilarious as well.
Well, like, why do I need to beat around the bush and be like, well, this property is nice, but it has some paint issues and it kind of smells like it was built in 1812. And no, it's hot garbage. Like, I don't need to use 94 sentences to say this.
Well, and here's the thing. There's been times where you have made a comment.
Like when we watch Sister Wives?
But like just to me about something, like I'll complain to you that, why didn't you put the dishes into the dishwasher? And then you'll make some sassy comment to me. And I have to stop for a second. Otherwise I would bust up laughing. And I'm supposed to be upset with you. So I can't bust up laughing because that would completely destroy the image. So then I have to like count and then let it go. And then
you want to know what sucks? I wish you would just laugh, because I would still understand your annoyance, but then I wouldn't have to stew and feel really crappy about my existence for not putting something in the dishwasher, because your breathing and counting makes it seem like you're mega enraged. And I've thought to myself before, why is this man so mad about a spoon? Like, it's just a spoon, man. Calm yourself.
Now I have to count. Otherwise I'll laugh. But
Just
okay, I'll laugh.
laugh.
Just don't expect that every time I laugh that I'm happy about what's going on.
Well, that's fine. You can think I'm funny and be salty about a spoon at the same time.
That was kind of the point I was making, though, is that I could be upset with you and you say a super sassy response that would normally, like, what the bleep would come out of my mouth. But instead, I'm like, okay. I want to laugh at that. That's funny. But okay, so I'm not going to react negatively to this because it's funny. And I'd be a liar if I tried to like argue that it was this, that, or the other thing. I think it's funny. So no, I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. And there I am. Zip that mouth.
You know what I think is great? And Sister Wives is my favorite victim because I don't know about you, but Cody Brown's a dipshit. Anyway, apparently Sister Wives has become my favorite TV show to scream at while I sit on the couch.
Yeah,
And
this is
so
true.
You'll be like half asleep because it's usually the thing we watch second, and that's you start falling asleep. And then I'll say
Thanks for
something.
telling everybody that I go to sleep at old man o'clock.
Nobody knows what time we watch Sister Wives. You're the one who went there. Anyway, you'll be like drifting off, and I'll say something like super mega rude, sassy to the TV, and all I hear is like guys just giggling away
Yeah.
at me yelling at the TV.
Yep. It's funny.
See, who needs fair weather friends? I have you.
You know,
And you're not an asshole.
You
So
know-
there's that.
it's just like the couple of stories that I've told about my brother. Most of the time, his little outbursts would make me chuckle. You know, like I'd just be like, I can't believe he was that blunt. Like he basically told that person to go like, you know, break that stick in half, shove it up their ass and rotate. I mean, literally in those words, you know, he says do that.
And
And
then
you-
he hopes they get at least 35
And you
square feet.
laugh hearing him say it, you know? But at the same time, there's the side of you that realizes, yeah, probably needed a little bit of a filter, just a little bit.
It's the part of you that cringes because you know a real human being is receiving this.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's exactly true. That is 10,000% true. It just is what it is. And I mean, I have felt it myself when I get upset. But like, then there's people who deserve it. Like the other day, I think it was day before, so it was yesterday. Some guy calls me, and I get 1 billion of these calls a day. And I normally don't answer, but like the phone's ringing, and I'm like, all right, who is this? So I'm like, hello. And, hey, Mike, what's up?
They always try to be your best friend.
And I'm like,
it's really quite irritating.
what did you need? Oh, I'm so and so from so and such place, and wondering if you're looking for any business funding. No, I don't need any business funding. Oh, so you don't need some extra profit? And I said, well, I always could use extra profit, but you don't make money on a loan. You lose money because you pay back more than you borrowed. Then he's
Right.
like, well, you know, the idea is to invest the capital that you borrow into your business and then, you know, grow your business. And I'm thinking to myself, there's so many comebacks that I could give him. Like, oh, you know, your shark mouthed repayment plan of, you know, $2,000 a week isn't exactly helpful to people who are trying to grow their business. I mean, think about it. In the first month, if you borrowed $35,000, $36,000 in the first month, they take back 25% of what
Yeah.
they loaned you.
It's because they charge you 9,000% interest.
Yep. They kill you on it. They murder you. And so instead, I just said, yeah, but you and I both know that you don't just get profit off of the loan. We both know that. And he goes, well, so are you saying you're not capable? And I said, no, if I wasn't capable, I'd be a telemarketer trying to convince a business owner to take business funding from me.
That was savage. I read that and I was like, snot came out of my nose. I snorted so hard.
It was savage. I
It
felt
was savage.
I felt like blood was dripping out of my mouth after that. Like I just took a chunk out of that guy's
more
ass.
like if blood was dripping down the hole where his head used to be.
I mean, seriously, like, and what was funny about it was still very polite. I was like, because I literally said it in the tone of voice that I just said. Well, no, if I was incapable, I would be a telemarketer, trying to convince small business owners to take business funding from me. He just hung up right away.
Someday I aspire to be as quick-witted as you are when you get on the phone with these people, because I always come up with the gems later. Like, it's not that I'm not smart enough or sassy enough to come up with them. It's that I'm not quick enough in the situation to come up with them.
You know what the real key is? I'm only good at the quick humor and quick wit when I remind myself to stay calm, not let myself get all angry and bent out of shape. Because that person on the other side, they don't care that you're angry and bent out of shape. They're not angry and bent out of shape, so they don't care that you are. Who cares? So they're just going to give it to you. Whatever you give them, they're going to give it back to you. So what you do is you keep yourself calm, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I know what to say to that. Blah, 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 blah. And then they don't know what to say. The funniest part is when they don't know what to say because they think they're so smart. Like the time the guy told me he was just going to have his system send me an email every second, and that I would regret telling him that I didn't want funding from him. And so what I did was I blocked him, and then sent a return message that said, "You're blocked for being a spammer." So that meant that if he sent me one email every second, he got one error message back every second that said, "You're blocked for being a spammer."
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So, the point is, don't mess with me. Don't mess with us. Because when you mess with us, we have legit, legal, above board ways of returning the favor. I mean, it's completely and totally illegal to say, "Oh, I'm going to send you an email once a second," and then do it. It's completely illegal. But there's nothing illegal about putting a block in place that sends a message back. It's not my fault that he sent one per second. That's his fault.
It's a rejection message.
Yeah, it's his fault. That's not my fault. He can control. And you know what's funny about it? If he never wants to get another one of those again, he's in control. Just don't send any more emails. It's simple.
You know what's funny? He probably got to the "stop replying to every one of my emails." And then he got your sassy response back.
Yeah, that was one of my better moves. I enjoyed that quite a bit. Quite a bit.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
So yeah.
10 out of 10. So now we've moved from fair weather friends to business funding assholes.
Who are basically like fair weather friends.
There's a special pit in hell for both those types of people.
Yeah.
Alligators.
Yeah. And I think, take with what we said the other day about how people online need to be less sensitive and, start assuming good intentions rather than bad all the time. I say it all the time in this show. I beat a dead horse about this, but you could meet somebody. You could talk about 100 topics. The first 99, you agree. The 100th one, you don't agree. And suddenly you're their enemy.
Pretty much.
You're the opposite of everything they believe. I can't believe you wanted to be my friend. Well, hold on a second.
Suddenly,
99 things out of 100 we agree, you freaking moron.
And suddenly, fuck you, fuck everyone you know, and fuck Canadian Thanksgiving.
Yep, and that's all I've got to say.
Good night, everyone.
Still a bye-bye. Fair weather, idiots.
Thank you for listening to the Nightly Rant.
If you enjoyed the show, please give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or Google Play.
If you didn't enjoy the show, please just ignore that previous request for a rating.
This has been a Yogi's Podcast Network production.